Now that we have discussed the scale factor chart, we are ready to place text into our drawing. You'll note that it was very important to have that sketch and to have an idea as to the size of paper that you were going to be printing on and the scale at which the drawing would be printed. It's very necessary, and remember, if you were drawing by hand, you would have to do this calculation anyway. So whether you do it on the computer or whether you do it by hand, it's a good idea to plan ahead, to think about the sheet size you'll be using and how big you want your drawing to print on that sheet size. The sketch that I did was at 1/2 inch equals a foot, and it's going to print on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So let's go ahead and place text. The first thing I want to do before I forget is go into my Layer Properties Manager and create a new layer, and this helps us review layers, and I'm going to call this A text. Again, A is short, or it's the prefix for architectural, and then text. I'm going to make the color for the text green, and again we're picking from the color index 1 through 7. I'm going to select color 3, and that's green, and then I can select OK. I could have gone to the pull down menu as well. I'll make this layer current, and I will select OK. As you can see, a text layer is now current. The next thing we need to do is go back to the Format pull-down menu and select Text Style. This brings us to the Text Style window, and as you can see, there is one style in here. The style name is Standard, and the font that it is using is txt.shx. There are no other style names loaded, and what we'd like to do is create a new style. The minute I select New, it takes us to the next dialog box, which indicates Style Name. You have to understand that you can use any name for the style, but you have to remember that the style name will be associated with a font. What I like to do is always give the style name the same as the font that I am selecting. For example, I'm going to use a TrueType font, very common in Windows, Arial, and I'm going to click on OK. I have created a new style name, and it's currently associating the TXT font with that. But I'm going to select from my pull down list. I'm going to scroll up and find Arial. A little too far. I will select Arial. As you can see, it has the TT for TrueType, and now we have a style name called Arial, and the font associated with it is also Arial. Font style is regular. Some fonts have the option of bold, bold italic, italic. Some may not. And then we come to the important part here, the height. Now, it is a good idea to always leave the height here at 0 feet 0 inches. The reason for doing this is because we're going to set the height at the command line. And second of all, if you have a floor plan and you have details and they're at different scales, you're going to be changing the height quite a bit, and you don't want to set it here to any specific height. You want to be able to change it from the command line. So again, leave the height at 0 feet 0 inches. Looking at the effects, if you check these boxes, you'll notice in the preview you can place the text upside down, backwards. You can change the width factor, and this is very similar to changing the spacing. Right now it's set to 1. If I change that spacing to, say, half of that value, it compresses the text. I'll go ahead and leave it at 1. Oblique angle. This is the angle that you can give it for a slant. For example, I can set this to a 30-degree oblique angle, and that begins to appear italicized, or it has the slanted text, which you may or may not prefer to use. I'm going to leave my angle at 0. And now that I have done this, I can go ahead and apply this new text style to my drawing. I'm going to select Apply, and now that I have done that, the button is grayed out, and I can go ahead and close this window. Now that I've done that, I'd like to show you. Take this toolbar down. It indicates styles. As you can see, our current style is Arial, and Standard, which is part of every AutoCAD drawing you create, will be there. I'm going to put this back. And now that I have formatted that text style, I can now place the text in my drawing.